Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1970s.
There's a bald maniac in there, and he's going batshit.
This is episode 175, recorded November 9th, 2022.
Gruesome Magazine.
I am your host, Doc Rotten, and this podcast is about horror films released between 1970 and 1979. Each episode, my co-host Jeff Mohr and I will tackle another classic or not so classic film from this wondrous, groovy, gory, influential decade. With me this week is my co-host Jeff Mohr. Jeff,
sure
how are
Jim
you
Morrison,
doing,
apparently.
Groovy,
Shadow,
man. Groovy.
Yeah.
Groovy.
Wow.
How are you doing, sir? Yeah, groovy.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm tripping, dude.
Tripping, dude. Also joining us tonight is Bill Mulligan, writer, director, and special effects guru, and of course, all around nice guy. How you doing, sir?
Well, thank you. Wow, I've done some good special effects, but I've never done anything as convincing as that hair.
No, and how could you? Because it's
so
real.
like,
It's real, ladies and gentlemen.
that's right.
Also joining us tonight is Chad Hunt, comic book artist and co-host of Decades of Horror, the classic era in the 80s and the 70s. And also an all-around nice guy. How you doing, Chad?
I'm tripping, Doc. I'm tripping.
You tripping too? You a bunch of trippers. Everybody's tripping. All right, we are here to review a Blue Sunshine.
And pick nits out of Moonshadow's hair.
Moonshadow. Yes, if you didn't know, Blue Sunshine is a reference to, in the movie, a form of LSD or a named whatever. We'll get to it. But this is going to be an interesting film to discuss. From, is it 1977 or 1978?
Well, it depends.
Well, tell me, sir.
Well, it was. It had a limited release in 1977, and actually was at a couple of British film festivals in the 1977. But the countrywide release wasn't until like May 78, something like that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Well, let's just get into things because that's how wild and crazy we are. Let's jump into the card and figure out what the hell we're talking about. Blue Sunshine from 1977, written and directed by Jeff Lieberman, or is it Lieberman? Either way, we're good with it. The cast is Zalman King, Deborah Winters, Mark Goddard, Robert Walden, Charles Seibert, Ann Cooper, Ray Young, and Alice Ghostley. The release date was December 2nd, 1977, limited in the U.S., and then widely released on May 12th, 1978. The budget, $550,000 estimated dollars, U.S., and the synopsis is a bizarre series of murders begin in Los Angeles where people start to go bald and then become homicidal maniacs. But could the blame rest on a particularly dangerous form of LSD called Blue Sunshine that the murderers took 10 full years before?
I'll bet the answer is yes.
I think the answer is yes.
Or the title would make no sense.
We're going to do something interesting here tonight. We're going to hopefully it's gone. We're going to it's not gone. You guys are killing me. We're going to keep trying.
Got it.
All right. We are going to do some wonderful taglines from Chad. Do I just show this? Is this what I do? Wow,
Sure.
Oh, man, I thought I escaped this fate on the 70s show. What?
That was bizarre.
No, there's no escape.
That was bizarre. All right, Chad, give us some taglines.
What was the music there? This is just getting worse and worse as it goes on.
We got Doc on board now.
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
Pyramid of comedy.
Like, I'll never have to do this on the 70s show. Yeah, guess what? Doc wants to do it on the 70s. Okay. All right. Your first tagline for Blue Sunshine is, did you ever hear the words Blue Sunshine? Try to remember because your life may depend on it.
Huh.
Nice.
Is that a tagline or just
yeah, or a warning, Surgeon General's warning.
PSA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
1967, doctors and scientists predicted it. 1977, the nightmare has begun.
Yeah.
That actually has some ominous meaning, considering the one street that you guys mentioned.
Yeah, sort of. But no, this
The
one,
nightmares.
the next one is the big one. This is the
Okay.
one that's going to get everybody.
Take
It's
it
a
home.
killer.
It's a killer, lady.
It's a killer, lady.
Wow.
Oh man. Let's go ahead and
terrible.
just. This is the poster most people recognize, right? Or is it this one? Which
See,
one
no,
of
that's
these
the
is-
poster. Yeah, not that. That's the one
Okay.
that suckered me into renting it.
That's a
Yeah.
blue afro.
Yeah.
It does look
Wow.
like, early
Their
something
brain.
going on. And then, of course, that picture there. But let's go ahead and get into our thoughts on Blue Sunshine. Chad, since you're up there, let's start with you. When did you first see Blue Sunshine, and what was your first impression?
I didn't pick this.
I don't
I
care.
picked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just happen to be to be in the top left corner, so I
Okay.
showed you.
Okay.
He really denied culpability very quickly. I think
Yeah,
that
I
tells
know.
us.
I'm a victim of circumstance. This is the first time I've seen this movie, and I hated every minute of it.
Okay.
Oh my God, this is the longest hour and a half I've ever had to sit through a movie. I just, I didn't feel like it was a horror film. I didn't feel like it was a cautionary tale that it was trying to be. It was silly, and I didn't like the characters very much. Well, I'll say this. I didn't like Zalman King's character very much. This dude has absolutely no feeling for personal space with anybody.
That's a good way to put it.
Everybody he's talking to, he's like this. Are you going bald? Are you going bald? I can't tell. It was just, I don't know. It was just, it was annoying as hell to me. I just did not enjoy it at all. I did enjoy the final rampage by, as Doc called him, Biff. But I was enjoying it in the wrong way. I was just hilariously amused by it. Yeah, I just thought it was very funny. But overall, I didn't get where the horror is coming from. I didn't care for the story. I didn't care for any of the characters at all. It's almost like it was trying to be a Hitchcock movie with the guy who's innocently or blamed for something that he didn't do, and he's on the run trying to prove his innocence, type of thing. But it's about as far as from Hitchcock as you could probably get. So yeah, I hated it.
Hated it. All right. Moonshadow, sir. When did you first see this, and what was your first impression?
You know, I was wearing that wig because I didn't want you to notice that I was going bald in case that freaked you out or anything. But anyway,
Needs to be a
when
little
did I
more
first
patchy.
see this? A couple of years ago, and actually one of our listeners suggested this, and I put it on the list, and it immediately went off of streaming when I put it on the list. So I apologize to him. And then I put it on the list like a couple months ago. And then, like I said last episode, I got sucked in by the wonders and the beauties of Lady Snowblood and bumped it. And so here we are, Mr. Ruggiero. Finally, at long last, I am fulfilling my promise. And this is kind of fun. So first time I watched it was just a couple years ago, but I got to say, I'm totally with Chad. Zalman King, this is like if you took method acting and turned it into like huge over method acting or something. I don't know, because it just makes no sense. We find out later that the director had something to do with that. But I kind of enjoyed this whole idea of the LSD damaging your chromosomes and it like turning you into this homicidal maniac, because a lot of that stuff was going around back then. It's not really too scary because it's not very graphic. I don't think I can't think of any really graphic scenes. There's a lot of throwing people around with super strength, but it also has an amazingly good cast for mostly well-known TV actors, but every one of them has been in like multiple series and are all pretty recognizable. So anyway, yeah, I kind of enjoyed it, and I thought the music was trippy. It was cool. It fit.
Yeah, they stole a couple songs in the disco scene, the disco part.
Yeah, well,
there's a couple like, how did you get the license for that?
But there was a lot of weird twangy stuff to sound psychedelic, you know.
Yeah. And how did you get the license for that Barbra Streisand song? How did you get the license for that?
Oh, and the
license.
Yeah.
I don't think they did. I don't think anybody
Frank
said.
Sinatra puppet.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
I wouldn't mess with Frank Sinatra. If any actor I'm not going to mess with, he's got friends.
Yes, he does have friends, or did.
So-
Bill Mulligan, sir. When did you
Okay,
first
so
see
years and years and years ago, I saw the DVD, or not the DVD, it would have been the videotape, and it was that one with the woman in front of the blue moon, and it looked very sci-fi to me. So I was I'm expecting this is some kind of cool looking science fiction-y thing, and I rented it and I took it home, and I don't think I got through more than 15 minutes before I realized I had to do something else. So I took it back. Maybe I rewinded it. Maybe I did. And that was it. And every now and then I've almost watched it again, and I still haven't gotten through it. And I think I realized the problem, and Chad kind of nailed it on the head. Zalman King's character is just so unlikable. This is another one of those movies. Some movies I've complained about there's no one to root for, but this one I was actively rooting against him. I mean, yeah, there's method acting, but this is more like meth head acting. It was, and I don't blame him now that I realize the director said, Jeff said the director told him to act crazy so that people would think maybe he's going to turn. And in that case, he did exactly what he was asked to do. Well done, Mr. King. But in the meantime, the result was there was no one to like in this movie, and this movie needed a likable hero. It needed someone to root for, not this squirrely guy that just seemed really strange and just reminds me of everyone I've ever had to sit next to on a bus.
That's about right. That's about right.
Way too in your face, way too intense about everything. This is the last person that you want to have trying to expose a big conspiracy because no one would believe him. Everyone would just assume he's and he's stupid too. He's one of these stupid people who, like, someone attacks him with a knife and he manages to kill them. And then people walk in and he's holding the knife covered in blood and there's a dead person next to him. And he's like, this is not what it looks like, which just terrifies the people who are watching. Wait, come here. Let me explain, with the knife coming straight at him. I'm like, I like the film noir idea of the innocent man wrongly accused. But I'm like, you know what? You didn't actually do those murders, but I still would like to see you go to jail because
you still need to be guilty.
Just don't like you. The movie's got some interesting ideas. To me, when I was watching this, it felt to me like someone trying to do a Larry Cohen film, only they didn't have Larry Cohen. It's got that weird, quirky mix of characters, a little government conspiracy. You're not really sure where it's going. Cohen could pull that off. And Lieberman's not a bad director. He's directed some interesting films. But this one, I don't know. It sure feels like a movie that got re-edited, or, they ran out of money. It has an ending that just sort of ends like it's been an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Go home. It just ended. There was no resolution. You're like, what happened? Did Squirrely guy go to jail? Did the guy get elected governor? I mean, what? Tell me. Throw me a freaking bone here. I guess not. If it doesn't matter to the screenwriters, why should it matter to the viewers, right?
There you go.
So, all right. I'm glad I finally got to watch it. I'm glad you made me watch it. It's unlikely I'm going to watch it again anytime soon. So, it's definitely a 70s film.
Definitely a 70s film.
It's fair to say that this would be the only time I ever watch it.
Oh man. Okay, so I knew about this film, but I had never watched it and I never really wanted to. It just didn't feel. It felt a little too much on the sci-fi. I actually thought it was going to be much more of a sci-fi film than it ended up being. That's for sure, because it is played more as a horror film. It plays a horror film but only if you are in the time when everybody was afraid of LSD. Yeah, because of the government propaganda at that time, which was going out and just saying all these things about it that has long been thought of as fact for since the 70s up until maybe the past decade or two, where it's starting to people are starting to remember what they did prior to that with all those substances. But anyway, all that aside, yeah, it's very much that kind of thing. So my experience was a lot different. I loved this movie. I had such a great time with this movie. I thought the lead guy was just so bizarre and quirky, and and I love that Brian James is flying around like this in the middle.
Yes.
For 2 minutes.
Oh my God, it's hilarious. And then he's gone. He's not.
That's it. Yeah.
And Biff goes on a murderous killing spree without hair, and it's just got all these bonkers things. Kids die. It's all, but it's played more like a political intrigue kind of film or a murder mystery than it is a horror film. The horror in it is more like kind of like Shivers and stuff, where something is making people basically go crazy and kill people. It's kind of that, but on a really pulled back scale of okay, 3 maybe 4 people, and now we got a problem. But there's a couple of individuals, like when in this card here, we'll talk about him, just the way they look, they really pull it off. I don't know. I might have been on something when I watched. I don't know. I had a good time with this. I thought it was bonkers.
You don't know.
I don't know. I don't remember. I like the director. I've liked a lot of his films. Squirm is one of my favorites.
Squirm's
films.
great.
We'll talk about some others too, but there's some there's not notable actors in here, but there are some actors of note that you will recognize, and like I think Jeff said, being on TV here and there, but I don't. And the ending has this crazy reverse Hitchcock zoomy thing kind of going on, and then it just kind of stops and credits, and you're like, okay. All right. Now apparently it's got an eclectic and hardcore following over the years. I guess that kind of translates to a cult classic in a way. I think I can see why. It's so
bizarre.
I'm up to watch this again. I can't wait to watch this again. I know you guys. Okay, let's put it this way. I watched 3 movies. This was the first one, thankfully, and the other ones we're going to review for Gruesome. Oh my God, this movie was like Oscar gold compared to those movies. It was a horrible night. This movie was fantastic. This is very much a 70s film as well. There's disco music. There's I think even Biff had bell bottoms on, didn't he? Or was that one of the other characters?
Of them did, yeah.
Somebody had bell
Probably had a
bottoms
mood ring, earth shoe.
Might have been. But I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I heard some music in there that they could never afford to have included. It probably should be cut, but it's so far in the back. This movie's bonkers.
It's just so weird.
So, all right, how do we even start? I guess we start with Lieberman.
Sure.
Now, what's interesting though is, for me, it's all about Squirm, right?
Yeah.
It's all about Squirm. But
Just Before Dawn, as I recall, is a pretty good movie.
I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either.
I remember when the movie came out because of the poster, but it was never close enough for me to see, and it's one of those movies that I've never been able to find the damn thing. I'm sure it's out there somewhere now, but I don't look now.
Same tagline.
Nightmare House because it just comes back and back and back.
Yeah.
I never saw Satan's Little Helper, but a lot of people talk about that film.
Sounds interesting. I haven't seen it either.
He did a TV movie called Dr. Franken, which
Yes.
is
Robert
that a
Vaughn.
is that a Frankenstein movie? Is he playing Dr. Frankenstein? Yes,
Yes.
based on Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Okay,
Oh,
so
loosely.
oh yeah, loosely for sure. But Robert Vaughn is Dr. Arno Franken.
Terry Garr.
There are no Frankens here.
There's in it. Oh no.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Boy, I love that poster for Squirm. They don't make
So
posters
do
like
I.
that
So
anymore.
do
Oh, it is so fan. Squirm is, yeah, it's a beast. It's one of the
Squirm
early
is
films.
awesome.
One of the early films we reviewed here on Decades of 70s.
That's right,
Decades
that's
over
right.
70s, and
Yeah,
what do you
episode
got?
6. Episode 6.
That's pretty freaking early, folks.
It is. You and the black.
But he
Saint.
didn't do very much, and I'm sure Squirm made a bucket of money. I'm sure this one did because it didn't cost anything, and it got released all over the world because I found like German posters and Japanese posters. I'm pretty sure Just Before Dawn did well. It seems like he should have made more movies. So.
Yeah.
Well,
But you just never know.
Before Dawn also has George Kennedy and Mike Kellen, which we just talked about on 80s in Sleepaway Camp. The camp director, right?
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
George Kennedy. I saw one of the most bizarre George Kennedy movies over Halloween weekend at the Alamo for Dismember the Alamo, called The Uninvited. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie.
He made some pretty weird horror movies.
But he was desperate for money. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
That movie is
Come on, man's got a drink.
Not good, but in the best way possible. Anyway, so I guess we should move on to our lead.
Oh,
who
look at this guy.
You can see in his face, he just like
He's so intense.
And he's
It's like
looking
he's
at
trying
what,
to-
a batch of
He's
hair.
trying to set fire to that hair with the power of telekinesis or something. It just take a picture.
I love that whole repeat. Bring it down slowly.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so did the gun
Line
scene
it
totally remind you of Terminator?
I don't
Remember
know.
when Arnold
Oh, yeah,
goes
when
into the
he-
gun shop
yeah.
and Dick Miller's there? It was
No.
like, wow.
Well, this would have been
Yeah.
first, but
And they're going through, they're going
they-
through all this for a pea shooter, for a dart gun, like
A pellet
basically
gun,
a
a
BB
pellet
gun.
gun, yeah.
A BB gun. What are you, 12?
well,
Okay.
He acts like he is, yeah.
so Zalman King, I this is a cool trivia thing. His very first credit in IMDb was in the Alfred Hitchcock Hour version of Memo from Purgatory, the Harlan Ellison.
Oh, Harlan Ellison. Whoa.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh.
Harlan Ellison's book about being implanted in a juvenile gang. So anyway, I think that's very cool. Along with James Caan, Walter Koenig,
Jeez.
Tony Muzzati, and Lynn Loring. So, and he was in a couple of TV series. He was in The Young Lawyers, like 25 episodes of that, and a few other short series.
The Young
Until
Lawyers. What a
later
time.
on when he became it was a group led by God, I don't think it was E.G. Marshall, but somebody like that.
He's young.
Anyway, that they did like cheap for people without money, right? Indigent people they defended.
All I know him from is Zalman King presents Night Lingerie.
Oh, well, he was
Get ready
in,
for nudity in slow motion and soft focus.
Starring Sybil Danning as the lingerie lady.
and you don't have to
I'm
watch
sorry.
the entire movie.
Lee J. Cobb was the star of The Young Lawyers.
Lee J.
Was-
Cobb.
Oh, another young
Anyway,
guy. Yeah.
sorry.
But
So-
was he also in Galaxy of Terror, the Corman?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh
Yes,
my
he
god,
was.
what did he play in that?
Who was he in there?
I think he was like a
Brion
I
or
seem to recall. yeah, like he was a kind of a scary looking guy, or maybe a bounty
Balon?
hunter, or I
Hmm.
don't know.
Balon. Who
that's
was
what I
Balon?
think.
I'm trying to remember who Balon was. But that movie, holy crap. Well, here's another funny thing, because his name is Jerry Zipkin in the movie, but they call him Zippy through a lot of it, right? And then another one they call Franny. There's all these bizarre nicknames. Well, in the movie, it feels much more bizarre than it sounds. Me saying it.
It's like they called up David Cronenberg and asked for some character names.
Right,
and he just threw a bunch at him.
Because they got Zippy. Then the girl, she doesn't go by her first name; she goes by her last name, which is Sweeney. And then, right, and then Franny, and Ralphie, just all these.
Tuesday,
Eddie.
Wednesday,
It's just one of the things is the way he looks at the hair. It's like, we have no idea why he's looking. This, I know this means something. I don't know what it is yet because I haven't figured out that you go bald yet.
All right. So let's go to our lead actress, Deborah Winters. Great name.
Yeah.
What do we think of her?
Bad hat. I liked her. I liked
her. I wish she was the lead in the movie.
Yeah.
It would have been interesting to have her as lead. She's unfortunately sidelined for a good portion of the movie. And then even when she's supposed to be like take over for the movie for a little bit, when she teams up with the cop, she just sits there and gets sidelined. She has to drink some booze.
Yeah, she gets drunk.
Gets a little lit.
She eats too many martini olives and gets drunk.
Yes, she does.
And at what point in history do they put the murder victim's face plastered across the news?
Oh, when a face looks like that, yeah.
On the informer.
Yes.
It'll be like the National.
It's the New York Post. You're not kidding anyone.
She was in Tarantulas, the Deadly Cargo.
Oh, dear God. Movie. Yes, that movie.
Oh,
I'd get drunk too.
And apparently Lieberman saw her in Koch, the Walter Matthau movie, and that's what led him to cast her, which was directed by Jack Lemmon.
She just seemed, like she seemed
she had
so
personality.
Likable. Yeah. It's like I don't know what she saw in Zalman King.
I know.
Well,
and he didn't
head of
see
hair,
anything.
I guess.
And he didn't see anything in her, like when she was in the car and they were like, and she was drunk again, or drunk for the first time, and she was like, "I love you." No, you don't. Yes, I do. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Is going on?
What the hell?
Well, and
she's
she keeps meeting him out in that square, and at the one point, she meets him, and Zippy pays no attention to her, and then all of a sudden turns around and starts running away because he thought of something. Never says a word to her, and she's like, "What the?" And then at the last second, he runs back and gives her a big hug, and apparently that's all she needed because she's. And then that's when he chews her out for, "What are you doing here at this club? I was trying to help you."
Oh, he gives her shit too.
Yeah.
What
he's not a nice guy. He is not. He is
boyfriend.
The most self-obsessed guy I've seen. And but again, he's just acting so squirrely.
You walk into a room and there's like someone who's burned alive in the
three people burned alive.
Three people burned alive. He whips off his jacket and starts fanning the flames. I'm just like, okay, you're
I know he did it with a pillow too. Poof, poof, poof.
Yeah. That didn't work.
He does a bunch of those angst scenes too, where he just kind of
when he goes over.
He's doing the room. To the murder. Like, you're tearing me apart, Lisa.
Yes.
Hi, Mark. It's very much that way. But when he goes and visits the murder scene for the cop, right, the other one, and he somehow remembers it and he like jives into it, and he's like feeling it himself. It's like, what the hell's going on with this guy?
Right.
Yeah, is this like Manhunter all of a sudden? He's seeing the crime. Does he have that ability, or is he just nuts?
They're trying to make you think he's on LSD, I think. He's in the flashback. It's even though he doesn't.
But he was incredibly upset about it. Of course he got sent over by Alice Ghostly, so something's going to go wrong. All right. We were talking about Deborah Winters, and we end up talking about Mr. King.
Well,
again.
What can we say? Because
she was in the Winds of War.
There you go. All right, here's a face many people will recognize: Mr. Mark Goddard. Yeah, Lost in Space.
Mhm.
Oh,
Poor
yeah,
guy.
He was great.
Did he ever live that down?
Oh, he was in tons
Hey,
of
it ran what 2
I
or
know,
3
he was-
seasons?
It was a lot of stuff, but I mean, was he ever not known for?
I don't think so.
Nah.
So he
That's
was in. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, he was in a TV series in '59 called Johnny Ringo, where Johnny Ringo was a sheriff that was a converted gunfighter gone good, and Mark Goddard played his deputy. And then he was in a series called Many Happy Returns. These are all like one season wonders. And then he was in The Detectives. These are all like right in a row in like 59 to 65 before, and then hits Lost in Space.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then after that, he's in a bunch of stuff. You know, he's in a bunch of TV
that
things.
he was the assistant. He was the deputy in Ringo. He was like the second lead in Lost in Space. He's got the right face and persona to be the leading man's best friend, or that secondary role where and people say, "Oh, that's not a bad niche to have," because you can do a whole lot of stuff with that, and you can get a career going. I don't know what it is that makes me not think, or why they didn't think he could carry an entire series or something, but he just seems like a natural fit as the best guy. He's not physically imposing, but he's a handsome fellow. He's got that kind of cocky attitude that might wear a little thin if you had to hear it all the time. But as the foil for the hero, or the impetuous young guy, meanwhile, the dad in Lost in Space would hold him back. But if something needed blasting, he's the guy I send out. If Dr. Smith needs a good bitch slap across the face, that's the man to do it right there. He's your hatchet man.
Yep. Now he did make an effective congressman candidate. Right?
Oh yeah.
He definitely looked like a politician. And
he seemed totally believable. Maybe it's because we're just about to have an election, but I totally could believe this guy. The only thing I couldn't believe, you look at, let's not get into it, but you look at our political class these days, and they're pretty bad, but they're not so bad that they would have a rally where the thing to try to bring people in is a freaking puppet show.
Ah, that was amazing, though.
What the hell was that?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it was in a mall,
It was a nightmare is what it was.
It was in a mall.
Well, here comes Frank Sinatra.
He's got that great line too, Chad. You texted
at the end of the movie,
in the commercial towards the end.
Yeah. Make America good again.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Which it sounded almost dubbed in the first time.
It did, like later, like now, like in the past, but it was definitely he wasn't ready to go great. He just wanted to go good.
Yeah.
So funny.
But he did a series of TV appearances. Yeah.
But what was the point of this? I mean, he used to be a hippie and sold people drugs, and now he's a politician. And it's not like he's the reason why. Just so happened. What a coinky dink! It's been 10 years, and now they all start going crazy at the same time, just in time to embarrass him. But the angle of government cover up didn't really ring true to me. I don't know.
I didn't. I thought it was just it was a 10-year chromosome time bomb. I think they actually call it that.
Yeah, they did.
And he was the guy that distributed it. I didn't know that I just thought he was trying to cover it up because he wanted to get elected, and it would have been a scandal. But
but his bodyguard, who was his best friend in college, was definitely took a lot of that ass.
Yeah.
Doesn't it seem like an obvious plot point that the politician who was supplying the drugs would have also taken the drugs, so we could have a scene where he's like, on the night of the election, he's, accepting the blah, 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 and all of a sudden his hair falls off on camera. He turns into a werewolf like the end of The Howling or something. I mean, but no, apparently he never took any of the drugs.
No, he dealt it. Just like the doctor. The doctor said,
the little doctor said, I never took that crap.
Yeah.
You know?
You just gave it to the girls.
But you know, Doc, what you said rings true, because I was alive at that time, and man, the propaganda about LSD was off the charts. They would show us videos in class, and it was so counterproductive, because they would have these terrible videos where people tried to imagine what an LSD trip would look like, and boy, it was low rent. It was really terrible.
Oh.
And then they superimpose a cartoon chicken over someone who's like dancing or whatever. But then the worst part was they'd have these hippies come on who survived their bad trips, and they would tell us like, "Oh man, you don't want to take that stuff. You'll be able to hear colors, man, and taste sounds." And we're all sitting in the class looking at each other like, wow, that sounds
awesome.
Cool. Yeah. Oh, no. Because then years later, when you've become a brain surgeon or an air traffic controller, all of a sudden you have a flashback, just comes out of nowhere. Flashback, and you're tasting sounds again when you're trying to bring an airplane into landing, and like, oh, okay, yeah, that could kind of suck. Or you think
I
you're
was
Superman,
out
to
of
stop a train.
I was out of school by then, so I didn't see any movies like that. But what I remember is they tried to convince everybody that you would think you could fly and would jump off a building.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That was the
This
other
kid
thing.
thought he was Superman. He jumped off a building. Oh, I guess he wasn't Superman.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and
That's
that's
what-
Nixon
and
long before Reagan went after it again. So
Every time someone under the age of 20 killed themselves by jumping off a building, they would just say, "Oh, it was LSD." No toxicology reports or anything. Not the fact they've been depressed forever. No, they took LSD, thought they were Superman, jumped off a building. They were not, in fact, Superman. Gravity took its toll. Don't take drugs, kid.
don't. And where you're flying.
Well, I never saw colors or tasted colors, but I laughed so hard my face hurt.
Yes, awesome.
You never saw colors? Well, that sounds really boring. Yeah.
Well, the wilderness used that to zag right into these guys.
They
It's
look
so
like they're having
interesting
fun.
that they make what alopecia is that? Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
They make
Yeah.
that the horror of it all, which is a real condition that people can have,
Right.
but they make it like this.
Watch out,
ultimate
Will
thing.
Smith might slap you.
I know. Totally threw me off the rails with that. But but they use it to good effect, especially the guy at the top.
It's the little tufts of hair that really sell it. If all their hair fell off at once, it's like, well, that's just plain silly. But
Well, it almost seems like it's like Samson's hair, in that they've already lost their hair and they're wearing a wig, but they don't go crazy until somebody pulls the wig off.
Of course.
Then they totally flip out. You know?
Run out of the room real quick. What?
So embarrassing.
yeah,
But I will say, okay, so the guy at the
I think
top,
the girl on the bottom looks kind of hot, actually.
well, she would now. And Star Trek would say, hey, let's go with that idea. Star Trek changed the whole Star Trek.
You gotta have the right
bald
shaped
women
head.
are sexy. But the guy at the top, not so much. He let's talk about him really, really quickly. His name is Richard Crystal. Not
Richard
well-known
Crystal.
actor, but he does have a well-known sibling by the name of Billy Crystal.
Crystal. Who could
Yes.
it be?
Not Crystal Cleveland.
Crystal Cleveland.
But Billy Crystal. Soap. Anybody?
Blue
Soap.
Persuasion.
Soap.
Crystal's
Crystal.
brother,
Yeah.
everyone.
Was.
I don't know
did
about
think
you
the one-
guys, but those two kids right there in the middle.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that didn't want to drop an atomic elbow on little?
Oh,
Jason?
it was like, hurry, do it.
I want ice cream.
Oh
I
my
want ice cream.
God.
my wife
hot
actually
dog.
said, these
want
kids
Dr.
deserve to
Pepper.
die. And I was like,
Well-
I think maybe that was what she was imagining they were saying.
That might be true.
Well, I
true.
thought
I
it
don't
was
know.
interesting because they said that they had to use, I think Lieberman had to use his kid to dub him in, because when the parents saw the scene that they thought could be trauma producing, in other words, where she comes after him with the knife there, that they jerked him out of the movie. So they weren't there to do the dubbing. But I thought the kids played it like they just thought it was all a game. I mean, that little girl was laughing and stuff when she was running from him. No, and then running away, So I don't know.
They were
the baby's aunt so-and-so, Aunt Auntie is coming at us with a knife.
And then she goes flying out the window, which was really fun. That was a good, well, of course, but it was a good stunt. They filmed it well from underneath. It was.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
She didn't make a big splat though.
And there he is, standing holding the knife yet again.
Yes,
he hasn't learned his lesson yet.
No, but still gets away. Yes. And at one point,
he's just upset, and he looks angry about it too. Like, why still holding a knife? Why do people think I'm the killer? It's like, dude, drop the knife at some point before you start bitching about how everyone just jumps to assumptions.
But circling back to the guy at the top, he is the one responsible for the women burning in the huge fireplace, which is a phenomenal scene of her trying to get out of the fireplace.
She's trying to get out. Yeah. He's pushing her by the head. Yeah. By the head, he's pushing her back in.
Oh my God. I think it won me over at that point, and I was just like, whatever, I'm good. Let's keep going.
Get in there.
I guess this makes you super strong too. Like the drug, the whatever this is makes you super strong, because it seemed like they were throwing people around with.
Yeah, they were throwing them.
Well,
especially the guy at the top.
Football player, he was like holding people up over his head.
Yeah. Like angel dust.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. It's fantastic.
Bath salts the movie.
See, you bring up angel dust. This is the thing. This is why it was the 60s propaganda was so bad. Once you get to college and you find out, oh, wow, look at this. There's people all around me smoking pot and they're not raping and killing. You realize, I think all of this was bullshit. And then later on, turns out that some of the things they said about some drugs were 100% accurate. Like, meth will steal your soul. Angel dust, elephant tranquilizer, bad idea. Soaking tobacco in formaldehyde and smoking it, not any kind of idea at all. I mean, all the terrible things that can happen. But because you've been used to them just lying to you, I think it was really counterproductive. But
I'm just going to say, I'm not saying fentanyl's not a deadly drug, but sweet tarts and watch out in your kids' candy at Halloween. That didn't really.
Yeah, you know what? They've been telling me that for years that hippies were giving out free drugs for Halloween. Yeah, I've known a lot of drug users. Yeah. They don't give out free anything.
They're not giving their drugs away for free.
No.
You got to
not even pot brownies.
Not even their skunk weed, man.
Especially pot brownies. I'll have what he's having.
I'll go trick or treating in that neighborhood.
Yeah. So I think this, whatever it had going on in 1977, 78 is long lost now. But it now just feels like a zany, stupid movie.
So
where do we go from here?
Well, we should talk about Robert Walden, the guy that played the doctor, his doctor friend.
Yes.
You guys recognize him?
Yeah.
I've seen him in things.
I wanted to, but I couldn't figure it out.
Lou Grant. He was a reporter in the Lou Grant.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God. That's right.
In fact, I think he won like 3 Emmys for that. And then after that, he was in a series called Brothers, which is really interesting. I never saw it, but he was in 115 episodes, and it said it was about 2 conservative brothers helping their younger brother who came out as gay, which
that was pretty groundbreaking for its time.
Yeah. I totally missed that one.
He's a good actor.
Yeah,
he's
too
good
actor.
For the scenes that he's in. It's just sort of obvious that. Again, I don't.
They try like hell to make you think he's one of the guys,
Right.
Well, he has that whole thing about the surgery.
He's freaking out. He's like overstressed. He's overworked. His woman's dying, but they play it up. He's just hair, Zalman King.
He's getting mad. I said a scalpel, damn it! Like I gave you a scalpel. Yeah. Jesus.
Fine.
A long tool.
A long tool. That's not long enough. But doctor, that's a very subjective description. I mean, long, short. What? Give me a break here.
I think they were definitely trying to overplay their red herring hand, every
Oh
corner
yeah,
of this
yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah.
But
Well-
he was also in oh crap, I lost it. What was it in? Capricorn 1 and Audrey Rose.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Great movies.
So yeah, I mean, he doesn't have like, in terms of like a character actor, he's got only 77 credits. But when you play, 300 episodes in 3 different series, then that's a pretty good career right there. It's
yeah. Yep.
Did
Definitely.
a fair amount of stuff earlier too. Yeah, Audrey Rose. Wow, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And in every TV, he was in All the President's Men. Just, I do want to mention the cop at the beginning too.
Yeah, I was going to ask about it because he looked familiar too.
Yeah, Stefan, and I'm sure I'm not pronouncing his name, but Stefan Garash.
Oh.
He was, the thing I remember him from is he was Del Gue in Jeremiah Johnson, the crazy mountain man he meets a couple times.
Yeah.
The one that at one point he's bald because he said he got rid of his hair so the Indians wouldn't have a reason to scalp him or something like that.
Maybe it was.
And he wants to make them think he's crazy because then they don't want to hear. So whenever he's walking away, he's shouting crazy, nonsensical stuff.
And something you put into the workflow, he finally makes sense to me. I this is one of the things that confused me about the movie is they seem to set this guy up as a major character.
Right.
And then they kill him off screen. And you're like, well,
Right.
what the hell was that all about? I was getting to know he's got problems with his wife and blah, blah, blah. He's got a parrot. This seems like, significant. And then all of a sudden it's like, never mind, he's gone. So apparently he hurt himself during the filming of the movie and they had to replace him with a different character.
Right.
Okay.
And actually they take the new character. He was going to be like a father figure for Deborah Winters, and the new character ends up being like a possible romance angle, like he's wanting to meet her for drinks and stuff, just to but he was also in I just lost it, gosh darn it, he was in Dark Shadows, like just 10 episodes, the 91 version. Oh wow. Gosh darn it, I hate when I do that. I had it all lined up. Well, Carrie, he had a small part in Carrie, and then High Plains Drifter, he was the mayor of the town. But they come and take his hat away from him and give it, Clint Eastwood takes his derby away from him and gives it to the dwarf.
Oh, yeah.
He's the,
God, that was a weird movie.
That was a great movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Oh my God. Okay. We got to talk about Ray Young real quick because there's just a crazy fact. Ray Young played the Biff character. I keep calling Biff because he looks like Biff without hair, killing people.
Yeah.
But okay, this is a great role. So in 1977, there was a thing called the Croft Super Show.
It was. Oh,
and
Lord.
one of the segments of that, because it was an anthology kind of super show, was Bigfoot and Wild Boy.
Oh no.
Yes,
I remember
He
that.
was Bigfoot.
Yes, he was Bigfoot. Yes, he was Bigfoot. And then,
Look up the trailer on YouTube.
Oh,
You'll it's hilarious.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Back when Bigfoot was popular with $6 Million Man and everybody was trying to
Bigfoot
find
was-
Bigfoot.
He was huge.
His first role was Mango the Hunchback in Blood of Dracula's Castle. I gotta go watch that now.
Oh my God, that's an Al Adamson movie, I think. Oh,
Mango
bro.
the Hunchback.
Mango.
And then what's this? Oh, and he did another Al Adamson movie called Five Bloody Graves,
Oh boy, it's a terrible.
which is
they're all terrible, but I love Al Adamson.
yes.
Wow.
Does he have a
Wait.
redeeming movie? Maybe one.
Al Adamson?
Yeah.
Horror of the Blood Monsters, but only because of all the stuff he stole from a Filipino 1 million years BC ripoff and inserted into the movie. That's all great. The stuff he shot is terrible. He seemed like a nice guy. Deserved a better ending than what he got. But
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I suppose so. Well, I mean,
Well,
does anybody here love Dracula versus Frankenstein? I know it's a bad movie, but it
Oh
is
yeah,
kind of
I
like,
do.
it is
I
like
do.
the best bad movie ever, right?
Maybe if they find a version where I can see what's happening at the ending.
I've seen. Oh no, the ending you can't ever see. It was just poorly shot.
Yeah.
Somebody agrees. Did we mention Alice Ghostly?
No.
She mostly comes out at night, Ghostly.
Ghostly.
She Ghostly comes out at night.
That must have taken 10 minutes to shoot her role.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she comes out. The neighbor across the street and fills in Zalman King. Who, are you sure you aren't a cop? Are you sure you aren't a reporter? Oh, you must be an insurance adjuster.
That's hilarious.
She keeps answering all his questions.
That's so hilarious.
About the cop that killed his family and the neighbor and the dog.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, okay, so we were talking about the street that was filmed on.
Yes.
That's a famous street now because of another movie from 1984, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Wow.
It's a nightmare. I mean,
jazz hands.
Doc, you mentioned Brian James somewhere along the way.
Yeah, I did.
We should mention
imitating Rodan.
Yeah.
By the way,
you remember Rodan?
Another guy mentions Rodan, doesn't he? Somebody says something about Rodan, and he goes, "Oh, you mean the statue?" And they go, "No, the monster."
the artist. Yeah.
Oh, the artist? Yeah, no, the monster.
That's such a random bit role there.
Well, there's a couple of those. So, but he's like everywhere. He's everywhere, right? He's just one of those guys. He is plays a heavy henchman, I think, in probably almost everything. And I'm sure somebody's going to point out something that he doesn't, but he's so recognizable. He has an interesting and unique face.
He had his own little horror thing going for a while there. He played in a movie, I think it was called The Horror Show. I think that's what it was called, where he was executed and he came back or something like that.
Yeah. I keep getting that mixed up with Shocker, but yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Well, I think he was in Blade Runner. He was in The Fifth Element.
He was great in Blade Runner.
So yeah, there's a long list, 174 credits. So there's stuff in there.
Yeah, another 48 hours and another 48 hours. Tango and Cash.
Yeah,
he was always somebody they would run up against, and because he had that look, he had the voice.
Mm-hmm. He was great character actor. Yeah.
But that was a great bit.
He just goes around like this.
Well, well, that's another one though. I mean, what is? I guess the point of that is that's just a guy being funny at a party. I don't know.
I think it was.
He was high. Yeah.
I think it was supposed to be saying he was on acid. Yeah.
Because then there's another guy. There's a point where
let's get Brian James for that.
Yeah. Where Zippy's sitting in the square, and I guess this junkie comes and sits by him and is talking to him.
Yeah. What? Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. What the hell was that all about? What was I supposed to get from that?
I have no idea.
And then there's a weird bald guy staring at them. But who is this? Who is this guy? So they found the one guy who's even squirrelier than Zalman King to sit next to Zalman King and give him the Zalman King experience.
And what about the guy that was staring at him?
Yeah. That too.
Just staring at him.
And then his buddy's at the corner going against the wall, just waiting for him. Come get your drugs,
doesn't make. And then when Zalman King runs off and meets the doctor, and then the doctor, here, shake my hand. And then Zalman King is like a total idiot.
He just stands there staring at him.
Here comes the cops. Get the hell out of here. And he just stands there,
Yeah.
But anyway, the junkie's sitting over there on the bench, and as everybody walks away, we see him in the distance just sitting there. I'm like,
you're a peach.
What was the point of that guy? Why was he somebody's brother or something? Or
yeah. This is what I say. It reminds me of a Larry Cohen film, because Larry Cohen would throw in these odd things, but somehow they always worked in his.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's some really good ones in Larry Cohen's films, especially around this time.
So that guy was Jeffrey Druce. He's got 18 credits.
Okay.
Played a guy named Zero on Chips.
Oh.
Chips episode.
My wife is going through the entire Starsky and Hutch and SWAT series. So
Oh my God, I'd love to do that. Oh my God.
Same people who have been in the movies we've done.
Oh,
they
yes.
keep showing up. And they'll use the same actors playing different bad guys because some of them are just so good at it.
Yep.
It's hysterical.
It's amazing. Some of those guys, one of these guys, I think it was in this movie, was in like, I think it was Zalman King was in like 5 episodes of Gunsmoke in 2 years, and he played a different character every time.
Yeah,
they would do that a lot. They would do that a lot. Yeah. It's like, what the hell?
All right. So I got my character actors out of the way. Although Charles Siebert is another recognizable guy. I think he's just one of those faces you see in a lot of stuff. The guy who plays the cop eventually after Stefan Gurish leaves. But anyway, Ann Cooper, the bald woman, was in what is it? Thunder. The helicopter movie, not Airwolf.
Blue Thunder.
Blue Thunder.
Blue Thunder. Yeah.
Not Blue Sunshine, but Blue Thunder.
Blue Thunder. Yeah.
Blue Velvet.
Blue Velvet.
All right.
Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our recommendation, and we have to pick a favorite scene. Don't steal mine. You know what it is. We're going to go in the correct order this time, Chad, starting off with Jeff. Jeff, recommend this. Don't recommend it. Favorite scene.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a quintessential 70s drug horror movie, trippy. I mean, it's just trippy, and the music matches. And it's people act weird, especially the lead. So don't watch it looking for a good performance. Just have fun with Zalman King's over the top, self-obsessed personality. So yeah, favorite scene. Well, heck, I gotta say when the aunt ends up chasing the kids with the knife. I was actually laughing because the kids were they apparently didn't have time to reshoot it or get different kids or something because they didn't get that it was supposed to be scary. I didn't think. And then the second you see the balcony in the background, I go, oh, well, somebody's going over that balcony and it's probably her. And there we go. The fight works its way over there. So anyway.
There you go. You're gonna go with that? All right.
Yep. And splat with the blood running out of her mouth. That was a cool shot.
I wish we had a picture of that crazy poster of what it's not. Is it Mark Goddard? No, it's not Mark Goddard. Is it Mark Goddard? Anyway, the guy from
Lost in Space.
Lost in Space with the jazz hands and the long blonde hair. All right. Anyway, let's move along. Bill Mulligan, sir. Recommendation, favorite scene?
I don't know. I guess if this is the kind of thing you like, you'll like this kind of thing. It didn't really. I wanted to like it more than I did, and I'd heard a lot about it, and I'd come close to watching it. I mean, I'm glad I did finally watch it, but it just didn't quite all come together for me. Favorite scene, I guess, is the disco slaughter because I hated disco.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
And then I find out, I just read this thing where it said that clubs like CBGB's would, when the Ramones were playing there, they'd play that scene in the background.
Yeah.
Which is great. That's terrific. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
There you go.
So Doc, you asked
one of
just
them.
a second here.
Yeah. Oh, you bugger. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Just hands.
Oh my God.
Because it had the thing underneath it. Blue sunshine.
Blue sunshine. In label tape, because that's how you label art.
Absolutely. Label tape. How else would you do it? Chad, recommendation, favorite scene?
Nope.
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 The end.
No. And my favorite scene was at the end when the credits ran.
Oh, you bastards.
It's my favorite scene. Best scene in the whole movie.
They were good credits.
Okay, if you back up just a little bit in the scene where it goes down that long hallway, I did like that. All right, I recommend this movie. I think if you are into 70s crazy horror, especially the more cult filmish kind of ones that have a weird, off to the left, kind of sitting down, whatever the hell it is over there. What happened? This offers a lot of fun. And my favorite scene is the fireplace scene. You guys knew that. That it was just the guy's look on his face, the way he kept shoving her in there, and she would try to crawl out on fire, and it was a legit fire gag, not like the CGI shit we get now. It was legit fire, and he's like, "Put her back in, get in there."
Get in there, you.
Well, when Zippy comes back in, though, I was having a hard time figuring out. There was just this big black blob in the fireplace. I didn't realize. I kept looking for bodies around the room, and I finally figured out, well, they must all be there.
They're all in the fireplace. It was a big fireplace, man.
Yeah, it was a big black lump in there.
Like she got in the entire fireplace. It's not like she stuck her.
Oh, that's right.
No, she was in it was like a freaking oven.
Yeah. Feet first.
Yes. It was beautiful, man. And then he like tosses our Zippy guy all around all over. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's move on.
Great job at buggy eyes.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Richard Crystal. All right, that's our review. Thank you, Jeff, for that Moonshadow. I never knew I wanted to see that film. Do we have trivia? No, we don't have trivia. Do we have
How many times did Chad hit the fast forward button on this movie? That's trivia question number 1.
3.
We do have feedback.
You know, what am I referencing, Chad? You know.
I know.
He's not going to say what it is. He's just going to say, I know. All right, go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
Well, let me find it. I thought you guys were still screwing around for a while.
No.
Well, we have we apparently tweaked Jerry Chandler's. I said that it's like he's applying to cinema journalism school with these essays. But first, Lone Wolf about Hausu 1977 or House. Lone Wolf says, I laughed when Jeff called Chad Princess Dragon Mom.
Everybody does.
I don't know why we quit doing that. I guess my nickname should be Jesse's Girl. I wish that I was Jesse's Girl. I don't either. Anyway, this movie was definitely one of the...
sir. Explain yourself.
Yes, please. We are clueless as usual. Anyway, this movie was definitely one of the strangest movies I've ever watched. I think we owe an apology to Godzilla's Revenge and Godzilla versus the Smog Monster. Those movies were acid trips, but at least you were able to get some kind of grasp on what's going on. I couldn't get anything out of this one. Yes, this was Japan's answer to Jaws, but I think they were mostly aiming for the financial blockbuster aspect and still missed the mark. Not really a Toho non-Godzilla film I'd recommend. Matango would be a better choice if you're looking to take a break from the Big G and his kaiju buddies.
Which we covered.
Mantango is a good choice.
I liked it. I thought it was visually crazy. I like that.
Bonkers movie. That's bonkers.
Yeah. Speaking of bonkers movies.
This is The Visitor. This is from Classic Rob's Glenn Ford channel, and this is real. Wow. He has a Glenn Ford channel on YouTube with Glenn. Awesome. All it has is Glenn Ford movies. That's awesome. And he says Glenn Ford's final scene is for the birds.
Waka 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 waka. I got a comedian here.
So if you're a Glenn Ford fan, go check out Classic Rob's Glenn Ford channel on YouTube. And I'm going to we have to let Bill read channel Jerry Chandler.
Oh, do it, Bill. You can do it.
Last episode it just came out today, Dr. Jekyll.
Oh, we can't read all this. We ain't got enough time.
Let me see how fast I can do it. Jerry Chandler says, I'm typing this at the start of the video, so apologies if I repeat some of your points. I love this film. The story and the writing are kind of middle of the road, but the performances by Ralph Bates and Martine, prehistoric women Bestwick, as well as the directing by Roy Ward Baker, really elevate this above the middle of the road writing. While you're correct that no one really comes across as a good character to root for, the performances of the two leads showing the conflict for survival between the two personalities does have its compelling moments throughout the latter half of the film. It's also interesting to see how Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde approached the concepts way back when of gender in society and how we view what is proper and improper with gender and sexual roles. Some of this is by playing to stereotypes with how male characters and their actions in seeking the opposite sex are contrasted with how the film portrays such actions by female characters. It also plays with a concept that probably made more than a few members of the audience, largely the men in various audiences, squirm more than just a wee bit. Intentional or not, I kind of enjoyed what seemed to be moments where they tried to hit the male audience with almost visceral reactions to moments in the film. You have this incredibly sexy woman seducing males while the men in the audience in the 70s realize that this woman's body was and soon will be again a man's body. They even play with that in the climax of the film.
Chad's taking a nap.
Yeah, as one of the men who rather fancied Hyde sees her as both her and him, and we see his reaction to this. Given the nature of sexual politics in the 1960s and 70s, it's actually interesting to look back at what can be found in this film and try to figure out what was in the film story and what was intentionally placed there versus what only appears to be there now when seen through the lens of hindsight. But the MVP here is Roy Ward Baker. Not only does he give the movie a great bit of atmosphere, but I absolutely love how he handled the transformations on the budget he had without using the overly used techniques we've seen for years in Jekyll and Hyde films, as well as werewolf films. The first transformation is simple but brilliant as a single long shot using a mirror and angles to both never take the camera off of Bates while revealing Bestwick in the mirror over his shoulder. A later transformation used the cracked mirror, keeps a more traditional transformation technique from looking as dated now as it could, and it also shows that Baker may have given way more thought to the script than the writer did. Using the mirror that was way earlier struck in a moment of anguish and anger and cracked both made the effect work way better than it could have and seemed to be symbolic of the fractured mental and emotional states of both Jekyll and Hyde at that point in the story. This was never going to be considered one of the best of Hammer by most fans of Hammer, but I think it deserves a higher spot than it's sometimes given. The performances were solid. Roy Ward Baker made absolute magic out of nothing in multiple scenes, and there are some very interesting moments that seem to touch upon the conflicts and the changing sexual mores of 1960s and 70s society and beyond. While this could have been a 1970s Hammer production, I wish that it had been given the thought and the budget and the treatment by Hammer that some of the better films had in earlier years, a few more runs at the script by better writers and a little more focus on what they could really do with the concept, and this film could easily have been much better. But as is, I still find this to be an enjoyable and fascinating, if occasionally lacking, attempt by Hammer to find a new way forward as the movie audiences were changing and causing the traditional Hammer style to fall out of fashion for a time. I just wish they had reached more of the potential this concept presented than they actually did.
Ah, yes.
Not sure why, but I love the bits with Burke and Hare way more than I should. That's it. That's actually the end.
That's
All
it.
right.
That's
all
it.
right.
Hey,
All right,
you know,
Jerry,
I mean, yes,
We're
You
never
get a
reading
little
one that long
long-winded.
again. So
he makes a good point. Oh, look at Chad. Look at he looks like a little angel.
well, they're all
when he's sleeping.
he makes great points, but
we done? Is he done?
if you don't want us
Yay,
to
Jerry.
edit it, if you could be more concise, Jerry, I'm sure you'll be happier
Well,
with
he
your
did
own
say he
edits
was
than
writing it
ours.
as he was watching it, so this was like stream of
Yeah.
consciousness.
Yeah.
And Jerry's stream of consciousness is better than most people's.
Well, it is.
reflective
And I'm
thinking.
not saying it's not good. It's
Yeah.
just,
I know. Yeah.
Thank
I
you,
did a
Jerry.
pretty good job reading it, though. Yeah.
You
yeah.
sure
you
did.
did.
You
Thank
made. I don't think you made a single error. It was amazing.
I totally
Uh,
agree with the Roy Ward Baker thing too.
I do too.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's
Next,
it's a good point.
we have our next episode. We have the film chosen, correct?
Yes.
We do. We
And
do.
that
Chosen.
film is Bill. It's your choice, so you get to say again.
It is a TV movie from the 1970s before everyone goes, oh, God. This one
Nobody's gonna do
has
that.
some. Yeah, this one's got some pretty racy stuff, some disturbing things. I mean, they got away with a lot here, and it's got one of my favorite actresses.
In one of her best roles.
In one of her best roles. And yeah, The Legend of Lizzie Borden with Elizabeth Montgomery.
I'm looking forward to it.
I haven't seen it in a long time, so I do hope it lives up to my fond memories of it.
I would say I haven't seen it since it aired. But I remember what a big deal it was when it came out.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about it.
You know, we were all talking about that one next day.
It's been it was like 2 or 3 years, maybe 4 after Bewitched had ended. So, people were, I remember talking about this in school. But I haven't seen it since.
It will be interesting to see. Sometimes that nostalgia thing bites you in the ass and it's like, not what I remember. And sometimes, and I hope this is one of those, you start watching it and you're instantly transported back to the last time you saw it. And, you know, it's like, I only watched this once or twice and yet I know everything that's happening. I remember that scene. I remember that little, some movies do that. Just the right time, right movie. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. We will see.
It'll be interesting. I'm excited about this pick. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yes.
I almost picked it once before, but I don't remember why I didn't. I think it stopped streaming wherever I was.
760 words.
You're still stuck on it. All right. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is our review for Blue Sunshine from 1977, and a gaggle of feedback. And our next film, Moonshadow. You had something to share?
Legend of Lizzie Borden is on Prime. Maybe you said that already, Bill, but if you want to check it out before you hear our episode.
If you have Amazon Prime, go check it out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that'll be 2 short weeks. We hope to see you back here. Thank you all for your feedback. Thank you all for listening. If you are enjoying this and still checking us out, we appreciate it. Hit the like, the share, the subscribe. All that will help us. Help us reach our goal of 5,000 subscribers. Only you can do that. We can't do it. They won't let us. So only you can help us get there. Jeff, I kind of love that look on you. Okay, let's just
wait. Where did Jeff go?
It's close to dreadlocks,
Yeah. No, it really isn't.
But, just ratty.
Yeah, it's just ratty. You look like, I was going to say you look like a hair metal singer that's still trying to capture that gold that was happened in the 80s. It just isn't happening now.
This comes with built-in headphones underneath.
That's awesome. Not all.
He looks like they're doing a prison play of Gigi or something, and he got the star role.
Prison play of Gigi. All right, we got to get out of here. Chad, Bill, Moonshadow, thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you. It was fun.
Yeah, take care. This is more fun than the movie.
This one's for you, Mr. Ruggiero.
Thank you, sir. Let's get out of here. Just say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.